Well, that new Brussels to Berlin sleeper train could be a sign of things to come, with even more international services coming down the track. Paul Charles is an independent travel expert and the CEO of the PC agency. I asked him about the significance of the return of sleeper trains in Europe.
Who'd have thought that we'd be seeing the return of sleeper trains in Europe? They had their heyday in the 1970s and 80s, and then, of course, they fell out of favour because of the onset of low-cost airlines like EasyJet and Vueling, and they've been able to price trains out of the market. But the trains are coming back for a number of reasons. One is we want to see more sustainable ways of travelling around Europe, and secondly, people do want to travel from city centre to city centre without too much hassle. And the beauty of these overnight trains is they go from the centre of a town or city to the centre of another one. And that convenience factor is something that more and more people want, especially post-pandemic.
When we were kids, I mean, obviously European sleepers was how people travelled across Europe. I do wonder if you can really persuade a generation of passengers who are used to cheap, fast air travel to get back on the trains.
The key here is price. The only way the European night trains are going to work is if they can price themselves back into the market. They're competing against airlines who can offer fares of 100 to 150 euros return. Now, the trains are starting to offer that sort of price, so they are initially competing at a similar level. And I think the train operators are hoping that prices of air tickets continue to remain high in a high inflation period and at a time when fuel prices are high, so the airlines are having to charge more. Airline ticket prices are going sky high and will continue to do so for some months yet. So the trains have an opportunity to woo new passengers with lower pricing and great quality on board.
Trans-European train travel isn't without its pitfalls, surely. I mean, you're dealing with loads of different governments and different operating companies.
There's no doubt governments want to see it work. They're prepared to back it and regulate it effectively, but it's going to cost a lot of money to install a network to be proud of. And of course, passengers like us only really switch from plane to train when not only is the price good enough, but also that there's a good enough network to take advantage of.
France is telling passengers to take the train and stop short-haul air travel because of the environmental benefit of doing so. The thing is, when it comes to holidays, we like to think we're doing the right thing, but by and large, most of us don't really care much about the environment, do we?
Yeah, it's still a huge obstacle and hurdle to climb, there's no doubt about it. It's going to take 20 years before we see the onset of not only cleaner fuel in aviation to help reduce emissions, but also for many more of us to understand that we perhaps should take the train, even if it's a longer journey, to get down to our holiday. But there's no doubt the comfort factor and the enjoyability is much better on trains than it is often on short-haul plane journeys. So if the trains can convince us on price and get that right, if they can provide a wonderful network to travel across, and if they can keep their enjoyability factor on board at a high level, then I think more people will switch to train and use it as an alternative to short-haul travel.